Yo, it is time. This is the iPhone 12 mini and the big boy iPhone 12 Pro Max. I've got a chance to spend about a week in two completely different worlds. On one hand, you have everything that is great about the iPhone 12 in a compact, tiny form factor that, spoiler alert, I kind of really like, and you have a 6.7-inch monster of a phone with a new camera system, a new telephoto lens, and as I kind of break down my final thoughts in a more in-depth video, just wanted to share what I thought so far, and while we're at it, shoot this on the 12 Pro Max and the front-facing camera on the 12 mini. Now, this is being recorded in Dolby Vision HDR. However, if you're watching this here on YouTube, you are watching it in SDR. And if you're thinking, well, what is the point? Don't worry, I got you. Down below, I'll drop a link to the source file so you can see exactly what this looks like on your device. If you're on an iPhone with an OLED display, you should see a huge difference. But the cool thing is, if you're on iOS 14.1 or later, on an iPhone 8 or later, you should still see a huge difference compared to what you're watching here on YouTube. Now, real quickly, to get a couple quick questions out the way that a lot of you may have and may be wondering, yes, if you've been looking forward to a flagship type iPhone in a compact, one-handable form factor, the 12 mini is it. You get everything that is awesome about the 12, the same cameras, the same OLED display, the same A14 Bionic chip, except it is packed in a much smaller body, roughly the size of an iPhone 8, except you get a 5.4-inch display that is the most pixel dense out of all the 12s. On the other hand, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, my goodness, it is a BAP. So if you like big phones, this has you written all over it, but if you don't, it might be a little excessive.
I love every phone except a Max because I wear skinny jeans and that big ass phone don't look good when it's in my front pocket, you know what I'm saying?
So let me know if you're team big phone or not. I actually got a chance to sit down with Gata from Dave, and if you've watched Dave, fist bump. If you haven't, please watch it now. We got a chance to sit down and talk about the iPhone 12, Apple Watch Series 6, life, mental health, and I'll drop a link to that down below. So in terms of being mildly excessive in terms of size, the camera system so far on the 12 Pro Max has not disappointed. I will break it down way more in depth in my full review, so definitely make sure to subscribe for that. But the Cliff Notes version of that is with the wide angle lens, you're getting a much bigger sensor, there is better stabilization. And as far as the telephoto lens, aka that third camera you don't get on the 12, there is now a 65mm focal length equivalent opposed to the 52 we are normally used to. Before I dive into that myself, I am a video nerd, so I was really curious to check that out. Gotta say, it did not disappoint. The first thing that I noticed is the extra depth that you get because of that bigger sensor, which translates to these beautiful, beautiful tonaballs. I realize a lot of people are going to comic book guy the 10-bit Dolby Vision HDR footage on these phones, but I gotta say, the more and more I mess with it, the more impressed I am. Again, the video that you're watching right now is graded in SDR, and I'm sure we've all seen our fair share of these clips just blown the heck out all over the internet. The coolest part here is, yes, this was shot and captured in Dolby Vision HDR, but because of the depth, the dynamic range, the latitude that you retain, the flexibility you have is bananas. If you're in Final Cut Pro and you have an HDR clip in an SDR timeline, the only thing you have to do is head over to the exposure tab and then drag the highlights down until things start to look normal. Seconds later, you have a beautiful SDR clip that is also future-proof with that HDR metadata, and if you want a breakdown of that and how it works, definitely check out my 12 Pro review. Stabilization has also been really impressive on the Pro Max, but honestly, don't sleep on the Mini either. This was shot on the 12 Mini. Shout out to Ryan and Emma for grabbing this footage. And again, what you're watching is SDR, so I cannot wait to show you this in HDR. That'll be up on the music channel soon, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss that. Now, spoiler alert, as much as I've enjoyed the new camera system on the 12 Pro Max, which is really, really good, there's something about the 12 Mini that is really, really enticing. Like for real, I am super tempted to use the Mini. It's compact, it's lightweight, it's just kind of refreshing when you're used to using a giant phone. I'm someone who doesn't typically use the telephoto lens too often on my phone, but as far as what that gives you on the 12 Pro Max, for example, really like I would break it down, is you're getting 3 different focal lengths or 3 different perspectives without ever moving a foot. It's a little confusing, but all 4 phones, the Mini, the 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro Max share the same 13mm ultra wide angle lens. As far as the wide angle lens or the main camera on these phones, the Mini, the 12, and the 12 Pro share the same 26mm lens, and again, it isn't until the 12 Pro Max where we get that bigger sensor and better stabilization. So without a doubt, that portrait lens is going to give you a unique look, especially being at 65mm. I think for me though, maybe more so than that lens, the only thing that would really hold me from going to the Mini is LiDAR. LiDAR, I think, is super underrated. You, of course, get all those AR benefits, but as far as the cameras go, you get night mode portrait shots, better autofocus in low light, and because there's much better depth data, you get better portrait shots, better cutouts, especially on objects, not people. Take a look at this picture taken on the 12 Pro Max and then compare it against the 11 Pro Max, and you should see a couple of things. One is focal length, that's at 65mm equivalent versus 52, and it is worth noting that you do get less light let in on the 65, which is a different conversation for a different day, but more importantly, again, you see that much better cutout. So at the end of this, I am really torn. On one hand, I really do enjoy the camera system on this 12 Pro Max, but there's so much going for the 12 Mini. Again, I think if it had LiDAR, it would be the perfect phone. Either way though, these are super fun phones. If you guys have questions you want to see answered in the more in-depth video, drop a comment down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, and you are feeling like being awesome, make sure you guys drop a like. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jonathan, and I will catch you guys later.